This interview is about my grandfather, Florentino Cabarrubias, and his experience in World War II. He was 16 and he lived in the Philippines. What was your first experience with World War II?
Well, during World War II, during the bombing of the Japanese, I was in high school. But we didn't finish it because it was already declared war. So we went to the house, and at that time, we were just prepared. When the Japanese occupied the Philippines, I was working with the Japanese government as a. At first, I was attending to the campus, and then I work on the cleaning the tank, the oil tank, and I work on the port to carry the cement bag for their construction. When the Americans start bombing, the reserve tank that we used to clean, it was hit by the P-54 aircraft by the American, and before the siren comes in, we ran to the foxhole, and when they hit that tank, the explosion just like a big blast of wind goes into our back. So I went and ran back to the train station where there was a train standing next to the pier. So on the boat by the pier was hit by the bomb too. So again, I ran about 2 miles away from our house, going to the house. And while I was running, I saw a Japanese sitting with his gun, and it's as if his body is almost cut to two with all the bullets and lots of blood. And so when I arrived at home, about the next day, about 30 feet away from our house, the bomb that the Americans dropped as tree and hit right by the field back of our house. So in that way, we decided that we have to go a little bit farther to away from the city. So when we went there, I was working on Japanese government by cutting bamboo in order to fix whatever they want to do with that material. And then later on, there was in that place, they suspect so many guerrillas. So they thought I was a runner. So they caught me and put me in prison. While I was in prison, they interviewed me, and I told them that I was just working with the Japanese government, but they don't believe me. So when I passed across the street, my parents saw me that that I'm going to be interviewed. So they figured I can no longer be alive. They didn't expect me to be alive. So when I was in the torture investigation too, they put a handcuff or tied my my hand, and hung me. While they hung me, it really hurt my shoulder, but I guess I was a little bit young. I was a little bit control it. I was able to bear the pain. But then I was standing on the stool when they hung me. They kicked the stool, so there I hung, and they hit me with a samurai sword with a casing, and they hit me at the back and everything. So when they released me and carried me back to the prison, to the room where in prison, I just slept there for about 3 days because I was so weak and almost, pass out. But then when I wake up, there was another guy that they took out. It didn't come back. So a woman was pregnant. When they were interviewed, when she came back, she was suffering because she was pregnant. But I don't know if the child was born, but the only thing that we got in that particular room, we were about 20 more people there, plus one woman that's pregnant. And they just give us a bowl of rice for one person, and that's it for one a day. In order to drink water, they gave us that banana leaves in order to, when it's raining, just to save water to the window, because it had a bar on the window. So that accumulates some water, and that's what we drink. And if we go to the bathroom, something like that, it's just in one room. We got a big pail that you do whatever you want, the necessity. And in that way, after almost a month, they released me. And I was walking, I was so thin and weak, as if I'm walking. It was raining at that time. And when I walk, as if I'm walking on the thin air. When I arrived, I walked maybe about 2 or 3 miles from the prison to our house. And when I arrived on the gate, I collapsed. So my parents, my father, took me in, and he gave me a little bit of food. And that's where I arrived. At that time, my parents decided that we have to go away from our place and move a little bit farther from the city, and we sell everything that we got, all belongings, in order to save money to pay for the sailboat that takes us a little bit farther to the mountain. And that's where we there. And then when the American occupied the Philippines, I went back. We walked about 50 miles. I went back by myself or with a friend to the city and looked for a wood in order to build the house, so that my parents and my relative could come back and stay in the house in the city. And that's where we have with my sister. When we were there, and she was working with the American for the relief, and that's why they have a storage there that we can give relief to the poor people, and that's where we maintain it.
And this concludes the interview.